I learned many of the most important leadership lessons as a junior in high school, thanks to Mr. Wilson and Cassie. This is a tremendously valuable lesson that I'd like to pass on to you this morning, as I know that it will serve you and the organizations and the family and the church group and the friend circle that you lead. Let me tell you the story. So Cassie was on the driveway in front of the garage where her father was putzing around on a workbench. Cassie suddenly pointed up wildly at a butterfly in the distance. Her big blue eyes lit up, and her voice rose with excitement. "Oh, wow! Look, Dad!" But before the 5-year-old could finish her sentence, her father, without even looking up, held up his hand in a gesture that silenced her immediately and said, "If you don't have something important to say, Cassie, don't say anything at all." Throughout most of her childhood, she often heard, "That's not important, Cassie. Nobody cares, Cassie. Be quiet, Cassie." By the time I got to know her a little bit in high school, most people referred to her as the girl who never speaks. Sophomore year, I had Mr. Wilson for AP English. Mr. Wilson seemed odd to me since he didn't lecture much. He asked lots of questions, and instead of lining up the desk in rows as other teachers did, he organized them in a circle. One day, we were discussing Romeo and Juliet. Although this was about the pre-Leonardo DiCaprio and Claire Danes version, the class, although still, was animated. Students were throwing their opinions at each other like a wild game of dodgeball. True to form, Mr. Wilson asked questions and kept the discussion moving forward from student to student. Then he pointed at Cassie and asked what she thought. The entire class fell silent. We all turned to her collectively, drew a breath, and waited. Would she speak? Cassie shifted forward and then shrank back into her seat. Mr. Wilson asked again, "Cassie, I can see you have something to add, and I would be honored to hear it." "We all would," he added. And in almost unison, we all nodded. Cassie raised her eyes towards Mr. Wilson. They were bright blue, innocent, and scared. And after a long pause, she whispered, "It's not important," as her voice trailed off. Another kid tried to save her by starting to answer for her, but Mr. Wilson responded directly to Cassie. "Cassie, anything you have to share is important, always. We'd like to hear it." She looked around at a room full of 16-year-old faces, assuring her that they did want to hear what she had to say. And for the first time since we had known her, Cassie spoke in class. Now, I don't remember exactly what she said, but it sounded pretty good to my 16-year-old ears. What I do remember was the real-life metamorphosis that happened right before my eyes. This one inconspicuous caterpillar transformed into a butterfly. For the rest of the class, she sat tall and beamed as she spoke. It was awe-inspiring. Mr. Wilson taught me a great deal about leadership that day. He taught me leaders don't tell you what to think. They encourage you to think for yourself. They don't dictate, they facilitate. They don't talk, they teach you to use your own voice. He taught me how people and ideas thrive in the process of engagement and co-creation. And maybe the greatest lesson that Mr. Wilson and Cassie taught me was that many times the greatest contributor is not the loudest or the one who seems most confident, and that every voice is important. So Darren Daily members, all of you are leaders. There is genius in every human being. As leaders, it is our job to draw it out, to ask the questions, to seek the opinions and input of everyone, to create a safe space where everyone's voice can be heard and valued. Everyone will be better for it, as we all were when Mr. Wilson got Cassie to speak. Hey, my Darren Daily friends, I just wanted to say a heartfelt thank you. Your being part of this global community, this Better Everyday movement, means the world to me and our A-team. And we just wanted to let you know and say thanks. In a world that wants to convince you that things are scary, dark, and scarce, your presence here is the solution. Huddling together each morning so that we can reset and recharge before we set out into the world helps each of us to be that beacon of hope, the beacon of abundance and positivity that will ripple throughout the world. It takes each of us to improve the lives of all of us. So thank you for your presence. Thank you for your commitment to better every day.